of Tanzania, quality education for all. The Open University of Tanzania, quality education for all. The Open University.
Hello, this is a course on research methodology that is going to expose you into the process that you will follow when you are doing your research. Basically, research is concerned with three steps. The first one is to come up with the topic or a research problem that you have questions around it and that you want to research on. And then the second step is to go out and try to find answers to those questions. And then you write your report. That is basically 3 steps. But within those 3 steps, there are processes that you have to follow. For example, you have to try to come up with a researchable topic. And then you go to the literature and look into the background of that research. And then you find a gap that we call statement of the problem, from where you are going to develop your research objectives or research questions and then hypotheses. Then you have to tell us what is the significance of your research and what you think will be the limitations of this research. And that is it in the chapter 1. Chapter 2, you have to look into 3 things. You have a theoretical framework, empirical literature, and conceptual framework. In chapter 3, you have research design and research methods. Chapter 4 is presentation of data, and chapter 5 is where you are going to discuss the information and also to make conclusions and recommendations. This is basically what your research, elements of your research process is going to be. Now, when we talk of coming up with research topic, or when you want to come with valid and interesting research topic, you have to do the following things. First, you have to identify a research problem as a teacher. Look around and look into what is not making sense to you. What do you think you want to see changing? And then you pose questions about that problem that you have seen. Those questions, then you can now write down, maybe is it about management? Is it about the policy? Is it about teachers? Is it about students? Is it about teaching, assessment, or what? Then you write that down as your research topic. For example, you may think that you may come up with something like head of school and cooperative head of school on students' achievement. Then with that topic, now you have to subject it into the literature. Basically what you are doing is to find out who else has done something like that. You look into the literature and who has done that, what are they talking about, what are the researchers who have done that topic talking about. Be keen into the concept that they are coming up with. Okay. Here you are trying to find out if anybody has done that research so that you identify the gap in the literature. And this gap in the literature we call statement of the problem. And this statement of the problem, you explain it in a way that one will understand that the gap maybe is from the methodology that we are used, or maybe is it the theories that are used, or maybe the research participants and so on and so forth. Or maybe it has not been done in your area, maybe in Tanzania, or if you are in Iringa, maybe in Iringa it hasn't been asked. So basically here you are trying to look into the gap in the literature. Without this gap in the literature, then you should not do that research, because at the end of the day you might find that you are replicating what others have already done. So it is very important to do a good background study to the topic that you want to look at, so that you don't duplicate the work. After you have the statement of the problem, you now develop objectives. What exactly do you want to find out from that gap? So you develop your research objectives, and from there you develop research questions or research hypotheses. Then tell us what will be the significance of your research, and also what you think will be limitations of your research. After that, then you have your chapter 1 already. You continue with chapter 2. Chapter 2 here, you have 3 things you have to look at. You have to have a theoretical framework, empirical literature, and conceptual framework. In the Faculty of Education, we insist on those 3 things in chapter 2. In theoretical framework, you are basically trying to be able to explain your research philosophically, methodologically, but also epistemologically, so that you are able to interpret what you will find in the field. In the empirical literature, you are trying to look into the literature that one went to the field and find what you are trying to find what you are looking at. So basically, in the empirical literature, what we want to see is you coming up with who did what, with what methodology, what theories he or she used, and what were the findings and what were the recommendations. After you have exhaustively done the empirical literature, you have conceptual framework. In conceptual framework, what you are basically doing is to show how the variables are related into others. And sometimes in most cases, conceptual framework is pictorial, whereby you can show exactly how the variables are related. Independent variable and dependent variable, and what are the intervening variables to that. That is basically, and you have to explain how those variables are related, interrelated, and so on and so forth. In chapter 3, here, as I said earlier, is the research methodology, whereby you are going to show us what is your design. Is it going to be qualitative, quantitative? Are you going to use experimental, or you are going to use narratives, and so on and so forth? And who will be involved in that research? What are the instruments that you are going to use to collect the information? Is it the interview? Are they the questionnaire? Are you going to observe? Or are you going to do what? Just tell us the methodology or the method that you are going to use in order to collect information, and why you are using those instruments. Also, we expect that you are going to tell us exactly how you are going to select your research participants. Are you going to use random sampling? Is it purposive? Is it snowballing? And you have to explain why you are going to use that strategy. But also, what criteria are you going to use to select your people? Is it the age? Will be the experience, for example? Is it gender? And so on. You have to be specific here, so that we know exactly you are not your participant. You did not. There is no biasness in selecting your research participants. After there, you have to show how you are going to analyze your information. Of course, here you have to be mindful that what type of data you are going to collect and how you are going to analyze it. The process of analyzing qualitative data is different from the process of analyzing quantitative data. So you have to use the research methodology literature to be able to know how exactly to analyze your information. And you have to show how you are going to make sure that the data will be reliable. How are you going to ensure validity of information that you're going to collect? But also you have to be mindful of ethical consideration. How are you going to approach the people so that you are ethically, you'll be within the ethical consideration of research process. In chapter 4, we want to see how you are going to analyze your information from the field. First of all, we want to see the people that were involved in the research and the questions that they were asked, how they answered the questions, how many answered the questions, what were answered, and so we want to see all those transparency. We want to see the process of how you are analyzing that information. And you have also to use the literature. Did somebody else in chapter 2 remember you have the empirical literature? How you have to discuss what you are seeing in the field with the literature that you developed in chapter 2. So that are they related? The information is related, or is it different? And of course, we want to hear your voice. How different, and what do you think? Why do you think there is difference? Don't just many students just put the information very dead there. You have to ensure that at least we hear your voice about why you think this is what you are finding. And you have to be mindful of the theory that you used also, because the theory that you develop, the theoretical framework that you developed in chapter 2 will help you to interpret the information that you are getting from the field. So you have to remember that one. In chapter 5, this is where now you are going to summarize your information and discuss the information that you got. You are giving meaning to the information that you got. If, for example, you found that a lot of students failed, then why do you think they failed? Now use the theory that you developed in chapter 2 to explain what you found in the field. Basically, in the discussion, we say you are giving life to the data that you collected. After there, then you make a summary and recommendation. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this will help you as you start your research process. Thank you.
The Open University of Tanzania, quality education for all. The Open University of Tanzania, quality education for all. The Open University of Tanzania, quality education for all. The Open University